All right. Hello, everybody. It's Kay, and I want to make a apology in advance. If there is traffic signs in the background, I am making the mistake of filming this during the day. But yes, I am finally getting around to doing the Q&A that I said I was going to do in my 1000 subscriber video back in February. But just with coronavirus and everything, I have been kind of not mentally with it. So I have been putting it off, but I've been feeling a lot better these days. So I thought that now was the best time to come on and do it. And I'm hoping this is a little better because I finally got headphones for editing. So I'm hoping for future audios that the content will be a little better quality because I'll actually have something to be able to help me edit out the clicks and the pops and different things like that usually make my audios a bit more amateur, because I hadn't realized how many editing flaws there were because I was editing with just the speakers of my computer or my laptop. So, yes, apologies if people are listening to my audios in headphones and hearing every little sound engineering flaw that I could have very easily edited out if I just had invested in headphones earlier, but yeah. That will hopefully not be an issue now that I finally have them, and eventually I'm gonna upgrade my mic because the Yeti, it's not that the Yeti's bad, it's just when I originally got the Yeti, it was more because I was leaning towards ASMR style content, and by the time I made my third audio, I was realizing, yeah, ASMR is not for me. I prefer just voice acting and storytelling and just focusing more on that. And yes, if people still get tingles from it or whatever it is that people get whenever they listen to ASMR, that is fine with me. But it's not really focused on that. I think I like having sound effects to make a story more realistic. Anyway, I really shouldn't keep blathering on because for all I know, like, I can't even remember half the questions, and for all I know, I could be answering questions that are being asked before I've even looked at them. Okay, so the first question, well, there's three questions here, but I'll answer them just in the order they're being asked. So first question is from Jay Hyuk. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I butcher these, by the way. Congrats, Kay. You deserve every sub you've gotten, and I look forward to seeing the channel continue to grow. Thank you. Questions. What got you into Star Wars in the first place? Was it one of the movies, a show, a game? Um, well, me and my cousin watched a lot of the same stuff growing up because me and him were the same age. So we watched everything together from DBZ to like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Like, my granny used to read us like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit when we were young. So we watched a lot of the same material. I can't even remember who it was that introduced us to the original trilogy, but we watched the original trilogy and then we watched the prequels because the prequels were just coming out at the time that we were getting into Star Wars. So I remember watching the first one at home, and then we went to see the second one, The Clone Wars, in the cinema. But yeah, honestly, the thing that really got me into Star Wars wasn't even the movies. It was Knights of the Old Republic, which was the first game series that I ever played that wasn't Nintendo or Sega. But yes, I remember it specifically because I think it was the year that it came out. No, the year after it came out. I think it was 2003 that it came out. And then my cousin had got the first one for his Xbox. And I remember watching him play it, and I was like, that looks fun. I want to go. So he let me play it, and it was to the point where I was taking over his Xbox. And he kept complaining about how much I was playing it, so he couldn't get on it. So that year for my birthday, my granny surprised me by buying me my own Xbox, and my cousin got me my own copy of the game, so he can have the freedom to play his own Xbox again, and I could still play without him having to sacrifice his game time. So Yeah, I became obsessed with it. It was, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite game series for the longest time. And even still to this day remains one of my, like, it is aged tremendously well, considering it was nearly 2 decades ago that the game came out. And then Knights of the Old Republic 2, despite the fact that it wasn't even a completed game, technically, was amazing. In fact, I watched a kind of breakdown of Kreia's ideology. And I'll link that in the description below because it's a really good watch and it is inspired some ideas for Ira and my current Sith Lord series and the next series in regards to Ira that I will be doing. And I'll go into detail about that in a little bit because I know that is actually another question. So I will leave it there for now. Do you have a favorite Star Wars film? I'm actually going through all the Star Wars movies again on Disney Plus, and yeah, I started going in chronological order, so I started with the prequels. And surprisingly, Revenge of the Sith is not as bad as I remember it being. So that was quite weird. Although all the stuff with Anakin and Padme is still complete cringe. Like, it's just the acting is terrible. Actually, no. You know what the worst bit of acting in the prequels is? I don't want this turning into a bitching session, but like, it has to be said. Anakin's mother. Whoever casted the actress for Anakin's mother needs to never be allowed to cast again. That was terrible. Like, she couldn't emote anything. Okay, right. I'm gonna stop because it's gonna end up turning into a rant. But yes, no, I'm working through all the series again, and it's gonna be a cliche answer because it's everybody's favorite. But The Empire Strikes Back, there is a reason why it's everyone's favorite. It is the best of all the Star Wars movies. It is really good. So I'm gonna say The Empire Strikes Back. Cliche. Shoot me down for being fucking cliche, but it lives up to its reputation. So, whatever happened to Distance Makes the Heart Grow Fonder? I deleted it. I didn't like it anymore. It was one of those audios that I kind of put out half-assed just for the sake of getting content out. And, yeah, I realized that wasn't the best method of creating content because anytime I rewatched it, I kept disliking it more and more. And I know that most times people will be like, oh, cringe at their own old content, but that one, even after just a single week of being up, I couldn't stand it anymore. Whereas some of my first audios for like Leave Your Troubles Behind and my Sith Lord series are still not the best quality, but they're still good enough to the point where I don't feel like deleting them. But yeah, no, Distance Makes the Heart Grow Fonder and a few other ones I think that I had up to were just no. Also because I don't think I feel very comfortable with doing romance audios. That might change in the future, but as it stands right now, I don't know, I don't like doing romance ones. I prefer doing thriller and action and drama sort of stuff. So like the current series that I'm currently doing. So yes, now we'll see how it works in the future, but as of it, to answer the question, it's deleted because I didn't like it. So Iranas has said, first of all, congratulations. It's nice to see you're getting recognition you deserve. Thank you. As for a question, I'll go with a generic one, but where are you from? I like your accent. I am from Northern Ireland, which would explain the accent. Cork Soccer, I like that username by the way, asks Q&A, what's your take on the newest episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars? I haven't watched The Clone Wars yet. It's one of those things I just never got around to watching, and now that I finally have Disney Plus, I am going to work my way through it after I've got through the movies. So, after I finally get through God knows how many episodes, because I know there's like 7 series, isn't there? But yes, if it comes up in the next Q&A, I'll let you know. Mr. The Letter L asks, good job getting your first 1,000 subs. As long as you keep putting out quality audios, your channel will keep growing. Question for Q&A. Have you done audio roleplay stories in the past? Because your uploads so far are really well done. No, actually. The first, I actually only got into audio roleplays in general recently before I even started uploading them. And doing like any form of acting even before this, no, I hadn't really done much of that either. The most that I had done in regards to anything channel related was I'm a qualified graphic designer. Back when I was in college, I did art and design and then continued on to specifically graphic design. And I got my foundation degree in that. And during the graphic design, we did very, very, very basic video editing. We had to do kind of like a advert for one of our projects at the end of the year. And we had to use MacBooks as well, which are an iMovie, which without a shadow of a doubt are terrible for working on. I don't care what anybody else says. I hate Apple products. So I am not a fan of them. I currently use Audacity and Lightworks for editing my videos. But no, iMovie was awful and it was very basic stuff. So I had to completely learn how to use Audacity and Lightworks from scratch. As for acting, the only form of acting training I'd ever gotten was actually after I started my channel. And I think you can tell because the quality of, like, even if you just watch my Sith Lord series, for example, the quality from the first episode to the third, there's a big gap there. Because between episode 2 and 3 was when I did my first acting course. And you can tell just by how much better my acting is in episode 3, which is why it kind of makes me annoyed that the first episode is what people hear first, because the acting quality drastically improves in just 2 episodes because of how much time there's been in between and the fact that I did a course in between 2 and 3. So yeah, it's one of those things I would love to do the first episode again, but at the same time you can't then put it in chronological order unless it's in a playlist. And then, like, my first audio of Star Wars is nearly at 20,000 views. And considering I am just starting out, that is a lot for a single video of mine to have. It's insane to think about. So, yeah. I kind of went off on a tangent there. Yes, no, I haven't done any audio roleplay before I started my channel. But thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy the quality of my work, even though I definitely consider myself still an amateur. I have a lot more to progress on, and I hope my quality of work just keeps getting better. Manual Labor says, I'm so happy that you finally reached 1,000. You're so underrated. Questions for Q&A. 1, why did you choose Star Wars? Well, as I kind of went into before, I loved the series. Like, Knights of the Old Republic, as a lot of people have pointed out, has been a very clear influence to my series. And even though I knew people liked Star Wars, honestly, I did not expect it to blow up as much as it did. I was genuinely surprised. Like I said, my first Star Wars audio is nearly 20,000 views. In fact, it could be by the time I finally post this. And if it has, that's just insane, considering I've only just went over 1,000 subscribers and I'm not even posting regularly. Like, there's 10 videos on my channel. I am very much a newbie at this. So to think that at this stage, and it's not even just that, not only does that audio 20,000, but every single one of my audios has at least 1,000 views, which is really cool. It's really nice to see that people like my stuff. It's really nice. But yes, no, I liked Star Wars, and I knew that there was plenty that I could do with it, especially when you delve into the extended universe, like the Rule of Two and the Brotherhood of Darkness and the things going on at Malachor 5 and different things like that. And yeah, there's a lot more you can play around with the Old Republic era. And I have mentioned like elements of the movies too. Like in my last episode I mentioned Calhoun, which are the same insects that the bounty hunter tried to kill Padme with in the prequels. And yeah, no, it's just I thought it was a fun thing to work with, especially because I love a good villain role, and a Sith Lord seemed to be an appropriate way to incorporate that into my channel. So yeah, that's why I did Star Wars. Why did you start your channel? Okay, so I kind of went a little bit into this with the have I done audio role plays before, but the main reason why I did was because I liked the idea of doing something creative, and I've always loved doing acting very informally and not professionally at all. It's always something I could have seen myself doing, and I love writing as well. So I thought it was a perfect medium of combining both of those things together, and just having a fun hobby. I really like it. And I also got very influenced when I discovered the audio roleplay community in general, because the main reason that I even discovered them in the first place was because of Kelly Eden. She's another YouTuber on here, and I've been a fan of her for a while. And from her, I saw her reaction to Pentastic's The Vampire series, and it got me interested in it. So I decided to hunt it down and find the audio series. And I listened to the first couple of episodes and was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm going to keep listening and see how it goes. So I kept listening through all the audios, and through that, I discovered Darian, who guest voice acted on one of the episodes. And the first thing I thought was, holy shit, he sounds like Zevran from Dragon Age. So I checked out his channel and I loved it. And then from him, I discovered Cardlin and Shadowy Whispers and Ozzy Ban. And then from Kelly again, I discovered Not Who Rose Things. So yeah, just the more I delved into it and the more creators I found, I just fell in love with it. The creativity and the talent from these people is just inspirational. And I've had the honor of working with some of these people, like Pentastic featured in my last Mafia video. And I've had Miss Rivers ask me to guest voice in a couple of her audios as well. And I just love this community. I love how I don't even know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just these people are amazing, and the work that they put out is also amazing. And I wanted to be a part of that. And that has brought me to where I am today, inconsistently uploading and hoping that eventually I will get to a consistent pattern of uploading once a week. Eventually. Have faith in me, guys. I will. I'll one day. A day may come when Kay finally consistently uploads once a week. But it is not this day. I really just went there, didn't I? Fuck's sake. Do you have some prior experience in voice acting? I ask this because you put so much emotion in your roles. It boggles my mind that you're not professional. No, technically. I mean, the only form of any training that I had in regards to acting in general happened after I started my channel. Like I previously said. Didn't I already answer this question? I don't know. Well, if I have, I've answered it again. No, I didn't have any experience before starting my channel. But yes, no, I'm glad that people think that I emote very well. That's always, you know, very flattering. King66 What are your plans for your next audio adventures? Love your vids. Keep the great work coming. Oh, the plans. The plans that for some reason never end up getting brought to life. I mean, honestly, I have regrets about putting out the Criminally Insane Asylum series so early, because originally that wasn't going to be the first episode. I was actually originally going to have the listener's character coming in, so I don't know whether or not I should delete that and just have it that the next episode I put out is actually the first episode, or if I should just continue if you guys like the first episode enough. I don't know. But yes, that Asylum series has been in the works for, I would say, it was one of the first ideas I ever got for my channel. But because I needed so many additional voices for it, I haven't really got the chance to continue it. And I would like to eventually, but we just have to see where it goes. But yes, that is one that I would like to work on. I am also trying to get better at doing one-shots, because every single one of my ideas, for some reason, I have issue trying to contain my ideas in a single audio. I don't know why. I mean, like, I think it's more just because I like a certain idea so much that I want to continue expanding on it. But at the same time, there is cons to having series. Which is, obviously, as the series goes on, you can tend to lose viewers. Like, for example, my Star Wars series is enough evidence of that. The very first audio has 20,000 views, and the second one only has 11,000 views. So, a lot of people may have watched it and liked it enough, but didn't feel the need to carry on, kind of thing. So, there is benefits to doing just one-shots, which I would like to get better at doing. And yeah, apart from that, it's just I have a few other series in the works, but I don't want to go into too much detail with them because it'll be a bit of a spoiler for them, and I want them to be a surprise. But I do have a few things in the works, so eventually. But I want to get my Mafia series and my Star Wars series finished before I start working on anything new, because I'm already uploading inconsistently enough as it is. So starting more series when I haven't even finished the ones I'm currently working on, I think it's better just to stick with the ones I've got for now and then throw the odd one shot in here and there. So yes, that's what's coming next. Okay, so I'm not sure if this was like a question for the Q&A, but I thought it was funny enough that I added it anyway. This is from David Mobeck. Star Wars fans are never satisfied, right? No matter how many you make, we'll still be clamoring for more. And this is actually part of the reason why one of the things that I'm planning on working on in the future is a prequel series to The Force Shall Free Me. And I put this actually up on my community tab asking people for their opinion of if they would like that or not, because there is only so much that I can delve into with Ira in The Force Shall Free Me, because that story is mostly focused on the listener and their journey to power through the Sith. So it is not completely about Ira, but she is one of the more close to my heart characters that there is so much to work with that I would feel bad not being able to expand on that. So because I can't do it in this series, it makes sense to do a prequel series. And that also means that the people sticking around for Star Wars content will have something to look forward to in the future. But I think there will be a gap between once The Force Shall Free Me is finished and me starting the prequel series. Because I obviously need to get, again, the spine of the story completely, ruled out and everything and figured out before I start writing the individual episodes. That's generally how I work. I like having at least the framework done before I start working on the interior. So yes, there will come a time though that I won't be doing it, because obviously I don't plan on doing anything else after the prequel series. So I'm hoping that whoever sticks around for Star Wars content likes me enough that they'll stick around even after the Star Wars content is over. Because, I think my other series are good. If you haven't, I'd recommend checking them out. I mean, my Mafia series doesn't have anywhere near as many views, and I think it's just as good, but, to each their own. Kreia, let's see. I'm a little late, but I have questions. What are your thoughts on the new trilogy? I don't necessarily hate it. I mean, the last movie, there was a lot of questionable plot points. Like, no matter how much you like the movie, it was one of those movies that I was entertained the entire way through. So when I was leaving the cinema, I was kind of hyped. But then in hindsight, looking back on all the plot points, you realize, did a fan fiction writer write this story? Yeah, no, it was questionable. Like, Palpatine's grand. What the that is actually a fan fiction. I'm pretty sure somebody probably has written that as a fan fiction. Like, was it that Disney were too busy working on the Marvel movies? They're like, oh shit, we need to write Star Wars. How long? Let's go onto the internet and get some ideas. And they just looked through fan fiction on Wattpad, and that's how they got the ideas for it. But apart from the questionable plot points, the stuff that happened around it, I thought was kind of okay. And I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, because for some reason everybody hated it. But I didn't think The Last Jedi was as bad as people make it out to be. Really, my only issues with that movie was, General Leia Mary Poppinsing her way across space. Especially whenever Carrie Fisher died in real life. Like, it was perfect character development for Kylo that he was going to kill his mother, didn't, and she dies anyway. That would have been fantastic. But no, we're just gonna throw that away. And the stuff with Finn and Rose, like, when I first watched it, I thought it was stupid, but when I re-watched it again, I was like, this actually isn't as bad. It's really not that bad. And, it has R2 being used like a slot machine, which was quite funny. But yeah, no, I didn't find it that bad. Feel free to disagree, but I liked it. Especially the fight scene with Rey and Kylo with all the Red Knights. That was a badass scene. The rune looked stupid, but the fight itself was really good. And what would be your ranking of the movies and maybe the series? That's it for me, and congratulations on 1,000. Thank you. Well, I haven't seen the Clone Wars, so I can't really say when it comes to the series. But as for the movies, I don't know. It's hard to sort of think off the top of your head. I mean, Empire Strikes Back would probably be the first one. I really liked Rogue One, especially because of that scene at the end with Vader just fucking demolishing the Republican soldiers. It was genuinely scary, and I loved every second of it. We need more of that in Star Wars. How did I forget about The Mandalorian? Okay, you know what? No, Mandalorian goes right to the top. The Mandalorian. Then we have Empire Strikes Back. We've got Rogue One. Probably go Return of the Jedi, then New Hope. Then I would go Force Awakens, Last Jedi, because I didn't think it was that bad. Then Revenge of the Sith, because despite the fact that it was a prequels movie, it wasn't actually. It's the best one. And honestly, that fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan is enough to just blow it out of the park. But actually, the movie with like the descent to the dark side with Anakin was a lot more interesting rewatching it. So yeah, I'll go with Revenge of the Sith next, then Rise of Skywalker, because even with its flawed plot points, it is without a shadow of a doubt better than Attack of the Clones. And then at the very bottom, where it fucking deserves to be, Phantom Menace, because the only good thing about that movie was the fight between Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan versus Maul. The only good thing about that entire movie. And we were unfortunately cursed with the bad acting of Anakin's mother and Jar Jar Binks. So, yeah, it goes right down to the bottom. So I think that is all of the questions. Is it all the questions? It is all of the questions. So yes, this ended up being a lot longer than I expected it to be. But yes, hopefully it was entertaining enough, for everybody and worth the wait. I apologize again for it being so long for me to finally get around to making this, but, yes, thank you again for getting me to this point, and, see you guys in the next one. Bye.